think it's 5 minutes past 12 GMT, and in Pakistan it is 5 minutes past 5 p.m. We are going to start the 8th International Islam and Liberty Conference, which is our first online conference, international online conference. We have organized 7 conferences before. Those were all in person in different countries, so it's a different experience for us. But I guess that all of us have used to now organizing and meeting and participating in these virtual meetings. And I do hope that this is the next time we meet in person. But for now, we are organizing this online. My name is Ali Salman, and I'm CEO of Islam and Liberty Network, which is a foundation based in Malaysia, but we have global operations through our research and public education activities, which is undertaken by our fellows and partners in different countries. Today's conference is very on diverse topics. It has both theoretical angle as well as the discussions about Muslim societies, broadly speaking. Like our past conferences, we are trying to combine the theoretical, historical, and practical perspectives on the developments in Muslim society, particularly with respect to 3 types of freedom that we all understand are very important for progress: religious, political, and economic freedom. And we do it in the context of Muslim societies, broadly speaking. In today's conference, in the inaugural session, first of all, I'm going to invite the chairman of Islam and Liberty Network, Mohammed Amin. And then after Amin, we will be joined by our keynote speaker, who is not here yet, but I'm told that he will be in our panel session in about 7 or 8 minutes. Mohammed Amin is a chartered accountant. Before retirement, he was a tax partner in PricewaterhouseCoopers and their UK head of Islamic finance and a member of PwC's UK supervisory board. And in retirement, Amin divides his time between several political and interfaith organizations, mentoring individuals, and writing and speaking in the media. And you can know more about him at his website, mohammadamin.com. He has been a very significant contributor in our work, and I look forward to his presentation. I'm sure all of you do. So Mohammed Amin, this is over to you now. You can begin your presentation.
Right, I should now be showing you my presentation on the first slide. Depending on where you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Assalamu alaikum and peace be with you. As the chairman of the ILN Council, I have only one task today. Together, that is to welcome you. Together, you, the presenters, and you, the audience, are engaged in a vital and very difficult and important mission. And that mission, being very frank about it, is to help achieve peace and prosperity. Peace and prosperity everywhere, but especially in Muslim majority countries, which need both of those things quite desperately. That's the only thing that I'm going to say as ILN chairman. And this page of my presentation is the only slide with the ILN logo on it for that reason. But Ali has also given me time to share my personal views about why I think ILN is vital. And that's what I'm going to do now. This is what I'm going to cover very briefly, and obviously all the slides will be available to participants afterwards if they want them. Ali's already told you about myself. I come from a very poor family. My parents were both illiterate. I was born in Pakistan, but I've lived in the UK since the age of 2. And the older I get, the more grateful I feel that I live in a country where I can say anything I wish about anybody. I have been very rude to our Prime Minister on social media, and I never worry about being arrested as a result of doing that. I'm involved in many organizations, which I'm not going to name now, but there's a full list on the About Me page of my website, and the URL of my website is already also on the bottom of this page. I want to take a very brief look at the world as it stands today. And I took a list of countries ranked per capita. You can't read them, but they're listed here from the richest on the left to the poorest on the right. And I've colored the members of the OIC green because membership of the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, is a simple objective measure for countries that either are Muslim majority or have very large Muslim minorities and wish to be associated together. And you can see that they're clumped towards the poorer end of the table. There are 6 on the far left. These are rich oil states with small populations apart from Saudi Arabia, but they're rich simply because they have a lot of oil under the ground. And without throwing lots of statistics at you, when you look at indices of economic freedom, indices of political freedom, indices of religious freedom, you get a very clear message. Richer countries, more peaceful countries have more religious, political, and economic freedom, and poorer countries have less. And you can either say that is correlation, or you can say that one causes the other. And in my view, it's very clear that one does actually cause the other, that if a country can increase its religious, political, and economic freedom, its economy will work better, it will be a more peaceful country. We're talking about religion, and religious beliefs matter. Most fundamentally, they matter after death. I'm a Muslim for very deep sort of personal reasons, and I hope to find out after I die that I was right. If I am wrong, I will never know. But religious beliefs also matter during our lives. And that's what I'm going to look at now. And the first reason why a country is rich in 2021 is very simple. It was rich in 2020 because countries don't change overnight from being very rich to very poor or very poor to very rich. But it's worth looking back at the history. The very first country in the world to industrialize was the United Kingdom. And in the United Kingdom, the first city to industrialize was the city of Manchester, where I'm talking to you from today. And then industrialization spread. It spread to Western Europe, it spread to the United States. What's quite interesting is that a third place that it spread to was Japan. Japan, rather than Ottoman Turkey, for example, which is right next door to Europe and had very large amounts of interchange with Europe. And I often think about the contrast between Japan and Ottoman Turkey. Japan was a very backward feudal agrarian society until the American black ships came in 1853. And they decided to turn their entire society upside down with the Meiji Restoration because they knew how backward they were compared with America. And 50 years later, they defeated a European power, Russia, in war, both on land and at sea. Compare that to Ottoman Turkey, which was next door to Europe, but it failed to industrialize. It failed to promote mass literacy. And I want to recommend a book to you by the American Jewish scholar Bernard Lewis, What Went Wrong? And while the title implies that it's about the Middle East, it's not about the Middle East, it's just about Ottoman Turkey. And he goes into great detail about how often the Ottomans would send study delegations to places like France, how they would half absorb the lessons, but they were not willing to make the fundamental changes to Ottoman society that they needed to make, which is why Turkey never changed the way that Japan changed. Another pair of countries that I've compared in the past, these notes, this slide is from a talk I gave a few years ago about the importance of government. And in 1950, South Korea was a little bit richer than Pakistan in income per person. By 2013, that difference was a ratio of 7 times, more than 7 times. And if we looked at the 2021 numbers, I think they would be even more extreme, although I haven't bothered looking for the latest numbers. And the reasons for that come down to the quality of government, the quality of society, the level of freedom that these countries have. And I wrote an article for the Islam and Liberty Network, which you can find on its website, the URL's at the bottom. And it was about the very big picture question of why are Muslim majority countries lagging behind? And of course, the only thing that Muslim majority countries really have in common is that they are Muslim majority. And the point I made in that article, regardless of what you think is right or wrong in terms of the afterlife, and only in the afterlife can we ever know, some religious beliefs and practices help you to succeed in this world, and some are very harmful. And I didn't want to illustrate that article with reference to specific Muslim groups or Muslim organizations, because that way you just become very unpopular and people stop listening to you. Instead, I looked at 2 separate groups of Christians, the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. And one group has beliefs that are very harmful to personal and economic and even health success, and the other group has outstanding beliefs. In fact, I've said of the Mormons that I can't think of any religious group that is more conducive to success in this world. I'm not a Mormon because I don't believe in Mormonism. I am Muslim. So moving on to ILN's mission. This is the mission of ILN as written down now. The ILN Council recently went back to our mission statement, asked whether it was as good and well written as it could be, and we amended it. We didn't change its principle or its objectives, we just changed the words. And the key thing to remember, while this looks like motherhood and apple pie, which is an American phrase, which means that it's a statement of the obvious and everybody should agree with it, there are many, many Muslims who do not believe in religious, political, and economic freedom. And our goal, our challenge, quite simply, is to persuade them to change their minds. And how do we achieve that change? We need courage. In many countries, I mean, I'm fortunate living in the UK, I can say anything I want without worrying about it. But speaking is dangerous in many countries. And even in safe countries like the UK, you may find that your Muslim friends no longer want to talk to you. Our work has to be academically rigorous. There is no point saying things that other people can prove are wrong. And we have to be clear and honest with ourselves. The backwardness of Muslim majority countries is not an accident. And the reasons are fundamentally internal and not external. And yesterday, when I showed this presentation to my wife, her first reaction was, it would be great if other countries would stop meddling in our, in Pakistan. That is not the answer. The fundamental problems that our countries face are internal, and the solutions have to come from amongst ourselves. Each of us, all of us separately, can do something, and together I believe we really can change the world. And that is why I'm passionate about the Islam and Liberty Network. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.